Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom filled with green fields and winding rivers, there was a kind and wise king named King Ryan. He was loved by his people because of his fairness and kindness. But there was one thing he always wished for: a golden horse, said to be the fastest, strongest, and smartest horse in the world. One day, King Ryan heard about an old wise man who lived in the distant mountains. People said that he knew where the golden horse could be found. So, the king sent his best knights on a journey to find the wise man and learn the truth. The knights traveled across deserts, forests, and hills until they finally reached a dark cave where the wise man lived. When they met him, he said, "The golden horse exists, but it is not for those who seek it for beauty or fame. The one who wishes to have it must have a pure heart and be ready to pass 3 difficult tests." The knights returned with this message to the king. King Ryan decided that he himself must go on this adventure. He said goodbye to his people, mounted his horse, and began his long journey. The first test: a brave heart. After days of traveling, King Ryan arrived at a deep forest where the first test awaited him. He saw an old wooden bridge stretching over a wild, rushing river. On the other side of the bridge, a huge monster with sharp teeth and glowing eyes was waiting. The monster roared, "You shall not pass unless you face me with courage." Instead of fighting, the king looked at the monster calmly and said, "I do not need to fight to prove my bravery, but if this is the challenge, I will face it." As soon as the king stepped forward, the monster disappeared. King Ryan realized that the test was not about fighting, but about facing fear with wisdom. He crossed the bridge and continued his journey. The second test: a kind heart. After several days, the king reached a small village where the people were poor and hungry. An old man approached him and said, "King Ryan, we have little food and water, but we are willing to help you on your journey." The king had just enough food for himself, but he chose to give all his food and water to the villagers, saying, "I cannot leave you hungry while I have something to give." As he was about to leave, the wise man suddenly appeared before him and said, "You have passed the second test. The golden horse is not for those who seek power alone, but for those who have a kind heart." Then he vanished, leaving the king to continue his journey. The third test: a heart of faith. Finally, King Ryan reached a tall mountain where he found a golden gate with words written on it. "Whoever believes in the golden horse, step inside." But when he tried to enter, he found himself standing before a deep, endless hole. There was no bridge and no safe way across. He had to choose: turn back and give up, or step forward, believing that a way would appear. King Ryan closed his eyes, gathered his courage, and took a step forward. Suddenly, a golden bridge appeared beneath his feet. He crossed safely and entered the gate. Meeting the golden horse, he found himself in a magical valley, where the grass sparkled like emeralds, and the air smelled of sweet flowers. In the middle of the valley stood the golden horse, shining like the sun. King Ryan approached the horse carefully, but it did not run away. Instead, it looked at him with wise eyes, as if it had been waiting for him. Then the horse bowed its head, accepting King Ryan as its true rider.